welcome to today's episode. It's slightly different today because my hard drive's gone down and I haven't got the introductions together to put it on. So it's just a short video of this, and we're going to be on the Cumbria-Northumberland border today, but I'm sure you're in for a treat and you'll enjoy this. Now, today's video is a bit shorter, and we're at Ale Colliery. We're talking to Jez Cooper. He was the last pit, he runs that website. And we were there doing a walk, a bit of a guide really, with the Industrial Railway Society. I did mean to try and interview somebody from the Industrial Railway Society, but sadly I didn't. I got a bit sidetracked with actually just talking to people. Anyway, this is their website, and if you're into industry, I suggest this is a place you come and look. Obviously, they do specialise in the industrial railways, locomotives, lines, everything railway-wise they do. But they have also published some fantastic books over the years. Specifically, there was a series of 4 done by A.J. Booth on the small mines of the country. There was 2 volumes done on South Wales, and then 2 volumes on North and South in England as well, encapsulating in photographs around about the late 1980s, early 1990s. Many of the small mines that have all disappeared now, sadly. My only beef is that they never came to Grime Bridge. They never looked round any round Burnley. And if you want to look online as well, this is the kind of bookstore, but it's far more extensive than this. So I suggest that, like I said, if you're into industrial archaeology, certainly this is a brilliant website and a brilliant organisation to look up. Right, so we're going to go across to Ale. We're going to meet some of the lads and talk to Jez, but we do intend doing a bigger video at a later date. As I say, we were just there to talk to Jez really and see Nick Broomhead with some of the rails that he brought along.
Come down. John's going to get a shot ready for us on a Saturday.
Oh, it's a ship.
I've got a friend that wants to come down.
I'd read for a sausage roll now.
Yeah? Are they from Greg's? It's energy food. So where's them 2 rails from then, Nick?
They're both from the Forest Head area. I found them in a bog. I tend to leave rails or anything where it is for others to find. I like to leave. As it was in a bog, I thought, well, they're just going to deteriorate, so I fetched them back. So that's what's called an outer plate from a tram road. Round about 1798, maybe just to over the 1800s. A cast one.
Proper cast iron, yeah?
Yep, we've got a casting plug there. This one's a bridge rail, and I rather suspect that that's from ex-MOD from the First World War.
Ah!
That has been probably brought back to this country and then sold on.
Yeah.
I rather suspect it's actually French, because the French company Decoville used to have a catalogue of these for troops on the Western Front and railways on the Western Front.
Is that what they kind of use on the front then?
Yep.
Yeah,
they did. Yeah, fairly extensively, the French.
So how much weight would they carry? They wouldn't carry a lot of weight, would they? I mean, I'm thinking like they wouldn't have locos going.
No,
on,
they'd be right up at the front.
Would they?
Yeah, for going into trenches and taking ammunition right to the front line.
Right, I'm with you, Nick.
Yeah. So so that's a bridge rail. They've been around longer than we think. The first bridge rails were certainly found in the early 1800s, and then of course Brunel, the great engineer, extensively used bridge rail on his broad gauge railway.
Did he?
Yep, the whole thing was bridge rail. So
it'd be more substantial.
It was
than that.
indeed. Yeah, much more than that. But yep, that's those two. So
brilliant.
From the Tyndale area, and as I say, I don't usually rescue stuff, but on this occasion,
sometimes you've got to.
On this occasion, the dry weather this summer exposed them. So so there they are.
Oh, brilliant! Thanks, Nick. This was our showers when it was Alston Mining Company LLP and C&G Mining. Very luxurious, isn't it? And that's what heated the hot water up, that fire there, and a big tank that would dry our clothes on. Such luxury. And that was the office. More of an orifice, really. Well, I thought today we'd meet Jez Cooper. Now, many of you will know Jez because he goes under the name of The Last Pit. That's the name of his website. You host that website, Jez, don't you?
I host the website. I don't own the pit.
Don't own the pit.
That's Shepherd's, always has been, always will be, but I do the website.
You do the website. So tell us about being The Last Pit then, because I know we could be right pedantic, couldn't we?
Aye. Yes, well, I mean, literally speaking, we're the last pit in the north of England. As far as I know, there's none in Scotland, there's none in Ireland, there's one in Wales, Aberpergam, which is a much bigger affair than us, and of course there's the three miners in the Forest of Dean who've been there since ever the first time. And I think that's it. So one in Wales, the three miners, and us, and I think that's it.
I think that's it as well. If you go back, everybody wanted to be the first man on the moon, the first 4-minute mile, the first supersonic flight. Now everybody wants to be the last, don't they?
Aye.
Because we had that film on the Kellynley miners, the last miners. And when you were still mining, it's a bit annoying. No, we're still doing it, aren't we?
Aye, and then you get into all the stuff about whether it's a deep mine or not. And they were the last mine, I think, that was served purely by a shaft. So they were the last deep mine. But I know I was down at Pergam last year, and the fellow I was talking to there was quite peeved about that they weren't a deep mine because they're served by a drift just like we are, but they're over 1,000 feet down where they're at, so that's deep enough, you know, I think.
Well, you're at least 600 feet down when you get in there, with the hill coming on.
Ah, that's right, we don't go down very steep, but the hill goes up quite steep, so I probably about 600 feet.
You're splitting hairs, what's a deep mine really? To get it, which is pedantic, isn't it? But if we went right back to the beginning of mining, where they were just outcropping and small shafts,
the original ones were drifts.
We wouldn't say they were miners, would we?
Oh, I don't think so, not to their faces anyway.
No, and the way that you actually mine, you well and truly know that you're working and you're digging coal, don't you? So the actual work.
It's pick and shovel.
It's all pick and shovel.
It's a windy pick rather than a hand pick, but I mean they've been around since the 1930s, 20s, 30s.
Yeah, they have.
And it's still hard labour, you know. You did the job yourself for a lot of years, Clive. So you know your pick weighs 10 kilos or so in modern money.
I don't understand the kilos.
No, well, it weighs a lot.
It weighs a lot. It weighs a lot more now.
Yes, well, it doesn't get any lighter as you get older, that's for sure. But it's all physical. I mean, it's actual using your arms and your shoulders, and then of course shifting stone, your legs and your back get pretty knackered as well. So it's a tough job. But I'm 60, I'm still doing it, so it can't be that tough, I suppose.
Well, the thing is, when I went into mining with the National Coal Board, the idea was as you got older, you worked your way up, you know, onto staff, or you got to a certain age and you went downhill. You know, you came off the face, you came back by. There's no back by work you can come to here anyway, is there? Really?
Not
back from the loco.
I mean, driving the loco, doing the screens, that's about it really. And the loco can be a poison chalice. It's easy if the tub's stuck on the track, but as soon as you lose a tub, then that's just about the hardest job there is in the pit, getting the bugger back on, especially if you're on your own.
And you've got the bigger tubs now, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, these ones hold, Kevin says, half a ton.
So there'll be 2 ton at least.
Oh, I'd say half a ton of coal, but of course then you put 50% more on if it's stone. Weight of the tub itself, you're lifting a ton, maybe trying to get it back on the rails.
Yes.
So
that's one. Are you using that now? Is it?
this end's come out because it's got blocked up, I think. And this is one of the little ones. It's not a lot of use in coal, hand hewing, in cut coal. It'll get it down all right.
Yeah.
But it's the same make, Topac, a Spanish company.
Spanish.
And they search high and low to get a decent pit.
Yeah.
You know, these days they're just they're very rare things. But this lot, Topac, are still making them. And the ones we use mainly about twice the weight of this, and this is a baby at 5 kilos.
Well, it's not
really powerful enough for the job.
They stopped when you and me were doing it together. They stopped us, didn't they? With the big ones, we couldn't get them anymore.
No, well that's right. And until last year, when we managed to get hold of these ones, we were still on with them, the big ones that from your day, Clive. And obviously they were breaking up, and barrels were cracking, the handles were falling to bits.
Sounds like me.
Well, and me on the bad days, yeah.
So how long have you worked in the pits? Well, how long have you lived up on Alsamore, Jez?
Alsamore must be 30 years now. No, 35. 30, wait, 30. Help us out, Clive. 36 years, 1987.
1987?
1987 I moved here.
And you come up, you've got a farm and all, haven't you?
Well, I don't keep any stock anymore, but
no.
I've got a farm. I used to keep sheep, and before that I had some cattle as well.
So in a way, you're one of the old traditional miners,
well,
sort of halfway between the pit and halfway between the farm.
Well, it used to be the lead miners, didn't it?
Yeah.
They all had their own little small farms and worked in the mines, and way often the women looked after the farms most of the year, didn't they? But,
so did you come in the pit straight away?
Pretty much. I moved down from Scotland, lived in Scotland for a few years, and I think down here maybe 3 months, and I met Bunt Thompson, who had Clargill along with Patch and Neville Richardson. I don't know, you'll maybe remember them, Clive. And I started helping out on the wagon. They were desperate for somebody to go on the wagon at Christmas, and then Bunt asked us if I fancied to look down the pit, and then I had a go and decided I liked it. And you'll know yourself, it's a bit of a shock to the system when you start. It wasn't too bad, I was in my 20s then. Yeah. So I picked it up and never looked back. I mean, I've not been down the pits all the time since then. When you finished here, I don't know, was that 2003?
April 2004. I've been cleaning windows 18 years. 18 Can't believe it.
Yeah. But then it would be about 2016, 15, 16, I started back down here again, but then I had a break. I was doing dry stone walling.
Must have been
between them dates.
Must have been hard work getting a start again, because I know Johnny asked me to come on Saturday morning, and you think,
Aye. It was not too bad, I think. I was surprised, because when you start, when you're getting to that sort of age, you think, well, will I still be able to do it?
Yeah.
And it came back to us in no time.
Yeah. I don't suppose you ever forget. You never forget what to do you?
I've been doing walling. It's a fairly physical job, so it wasn't as if I was coming in as an unfit sort of individual.
No. I know when we used to, because we both did the rescue training together, and you had one of the best. What was it? You said about your ears, you could hear the grass grow. The rest of us were all rotten down.
I don't know how. Yeah. Because I know, well, you know what it was like in the old days. I mean, you never wore ear defenders or anything.
I mean, I've got a symphony going on in mine all day.
The tinnitus symphony. No, I must have been lucky. I mean, now it's changed. I always have the earmuffs on and the proper dust masks, not just them daft cotton pads with
The Martindales we used to use.
The Martindales,
yeah.
I've neither used no ornament them,
No,
really.
no, not really.
But the ones we've got now, they're a lot dearer, but they do the job. They keep the stuff out of the lungs, which is where you don't want it.
Yeah, no. Your dad had something to do with the rescue as well. Your dad was a doctor, weren't
he was a doctor, but I don't know whether it was when he was a medical student or sometime late from that, but he had a hand in developing, I think it must have been the proto-apparatus that they used back in the day.
Right.
Which, the only reason I know about that is when he retired, his colleagues made him like a little picture of the stuff he had done, and amongst other things, there was a picture of this respirator on. And I said, that looks like a rescue respirator, where's that from?
Yeah.
He said, when I was I think it was when he was a student, maybe he was in Birmingham and he did some work on it maybe. But he's gone now, so I'll never know anything more than that, unfortunately.
Well, you have a mining background and all, haven't you, within the family?
Well, funnily enough, I didn't really know this until an American relative who I'd never heard of. He was actually the brother of my his grandfather was the brother of my great-grandfather, I think, got in touch, family tree stuff, he'd done loads of stuff. Turns out all our lot came from the Tyne, Newcastle, and most of them ended up at Percy, Maine, working at the pit there, and they were one of them was an under-manager who knew Buddle, is it?
John Buddle,
John Buddle,
yeah.
And he's mentioned in a book or two.
Is it?
Samuel Cooper.
Oh, wow.
And then there was 2 or 3 Samuel Coopers and 2 or 3 George Coopers, but all of them were in Percy, Maine.
Yeah.
So one of them went to Monk Wearmouth, got killed there, got crushed by tubs, and then they were down Staffordshire for a while in Talk of the Hill. Came back up, managed one. This is the great grandfather now, I think. Woolly Hill over at somewhere in Weardale, just a little drift mine, I think. And then ended up in Dunstan. And then that was the link was broken. That when he became the waste and measures inspector for Gateshead, the next 2-3 generations no mining at all. So it's kind of queer me coming back to it, not knowing that my family had been miners, and it must be in the blood somehow.
Yeah, and I mean, being managers and under managers and that,
Aye, as well as run the mill miners as well, and a few ended up in the workhouse, I think. But that's what life was like 100, 200 years ago, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, you've been trying to keep the history going, obviously with the website, and I know you'd like to do more here as well, wouldn't you? But it's difficult, isn't it?
Yes, I mean it's a coal mine, and the priority is producing coal. And a few years ago, things were a bit slack. Kevin and I were talking, and thinking of the potential of having a visitor mine here. It'll happen one day, I think, but now's not the time, simply because we're flat out with coal, and that's our main business. And it's as you say, mixing the two.
Yeah,
it could be done, I'm sure. Yeah. It's not just quite as straightforward as opening up an old mine that hasn't worked anymore.
Well, there's plenty of work here, isn't there now? I mean, the orders are going up, aren't they, with the mines closing?
Aye, well, exactly, yeah, and with the pound dropping and the energy crisis, of course, now coal's probably the cheapest in the country now.
Well, we're talking to the lads. We were talking to either the lads or somebody else the other day, because obviously our electric's gone up and I'm buying free burning coal. It was Dougal. Talking to Dougal. Dougal said it's going up to £35 a bag.
For the house coal,
And I said, I better get back to the pit for my concession. We both had a laugh. Kevin giving me 75 quid a week, 2 bags of coal. I thought, well, that's never going to happen, is it? But I'll be sneaking a bit out in my wellies now.
Well, you do that whether you want to or not, don't you? You know what it's like. You always end up with somebody down your wellies. But I mean, and this is anthracite, and it's now, I used to be the house coal was loads cheaper than the anthracite, but now the
other way around, isn't it?
Cheapest one.
So all the guys that said they'd go back tomorrow, here's your chance.
Aye, get yourselves down and have a go.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Jez. I know we're going to sit down shortly and we're going to do a proper history on Colliery, aren't we?
Aye, that's the plan, Clive.
Yeah,
you've got the knowledge and I've got some of the underground.
Well, you've got plenty of knowledge yourself. So
together we'll patch something up.
Yeah. So thanks anyway. So watch this space for that coming up.